And salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile, coming to you right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good things. I know one guy who's in a good mood today, thanks to those Jedis of the Pacific Northwest. Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett is here. Robert, how you doing?
John, it was a good game, but it was a sad night because one of my favorite filmmakers, Jean-Luc Godard, passed away at the age of 91. He made movies like A Band Apart, Contempt. If you watch French New Wave cinema,
he was really kind of like the godfather of French New Wave cinema in a lot of ways.
He and Truffaut, but yeah, he was really the godfather. You know, Quentin Tarantino's production company, A Band Apart, named after A Band Apart. He had a great life. He made a lot of really interesting films. He was a film critic for Cahiers du Cinema before that. But hey, if you want to watch something cool, watch Breathless, watch A Band Apart.
The Oldest Profession.
Watch Contempt. It's about making movies.
Profession. And also joining us, sitting back there, one of the world's foremost experts on French New Wave cinema. Of course, Ray Orr is here, joining you guys in the live chat today. Ray, how you doing?
By the end of the week, I could probably recite the first 15 minutes of Morbius. I tried it again last night, and I didn't make it again.
Not French New Wave.
The hallmark of French New Wave cinema.
I made it, I think, 5 minutes more than what my attempts on the weekend, but we'll get there.
Maybe you shouldn't start from the beginning every time. Maybe you should pick up where you left off.
Yeah, because now I'm starting to remember everything. Because, I'm starting to memorize everything. So, yeah.
It's going to be your favorite movie by the time you're done.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting beside Ray, of course, running the show today, producer Jonathan Boyko. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's just one of those scrambling days, but we're making it work.
And speaking of scrambling, we're glad you guys scrambled to be here and be a part of this show with us today. Thank you so much for making the show a part of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever time zone you are living in. Here's how today's show is going to go, guys. We're going to break it into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you've got a live comment or question you'd like to get on the show, a couple things. Number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats, and that will be your cue to fire in your thoughts, theories, speculations, questions, whatever, and Rob and I will address those in the second half of the show. Now, before we get into all that kind of stuff, we want to let you guys know about a couple things. The first thing we really want to bring to your attention is this. Recently, we brought a new show into the John Campea fold family, and that is the wonderful show Designing Hollywood. And it is now a presentation of the John Campea Show, and of course, Rob hosts many of the episodes on there. And on our most recent episode, if you guys have not seen this yet, you get to actually get in depth with the people who make these films possible and giving us the looks and the images that we get. And in the most recent episode that just went up on the channel yesterday, Rob talks to the designer of House of the Dragon. She also designed Harry Potter. She also designed James Bond. She designed a lot of stuff. Who is this woman?
Jenny Temim. And she is a French designer. She began her Hollywood career in the Dutch film industry. And she worked on many Dutch films, and she did a film called Character that won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Film, and she was kind of discovered by Alfonso Cuarón. I mean, she had done like Gangster #1 here in when she came to Europe, but then Cuarón did Gravity, Children of Men, and then jumped onto the Harry Potter franchise and did 6, beginning in Prisoner of Azkaban, did Skyfall, did Spectre, and
most notably right now doing House of the Dragon. And we want to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what Designing Hollywood is like. Here, check out this clip with Rob.
There's great antagonists in the Harry Potter films, whether you're talking...
I love villain.
What is the secret to dressing a great villain?
To make him very sexy. Villain should be sexy. I love my villain. I think villains should be gorgeous and beautiful. That's why they are so villain, because they are dangerous, because they seduce you. But it's also the same if it is a woman, I love Bellatrix. I love Bellatrix. Hélène Bonham Carter in Bellatrix. Oh my God. She was divine. And I love her so much. It's one of my favorite costumes of all time, costume of Bellatrix.
There's just a little taste of our show, Designing Hollywood. And listen, we talked to the biggest designers of the biggest movies and TV shows, and there is more coming. If you guys haven't checked out Designing Hollywood yet, look on the front page of our YouTube channel. We got an entire Designing Hollywood playlist there. Go and start checking those out because Rob does a great job with many of those interviews. All right, guys, one other thing I want to let you guys know. Now, you know, here on the John Campea Show, we've started a new segment called the Mint Mobile Hotline Question of the Day, where we take one and sometimes two questions that you guys actually phone in and leave a voice message for. Here's the thing, though. It's a lot more popular than I thought it would be. And a lot of you guys are calling in some great questions, and we just don't have time for it. So here's what we're going to do. Starting this week, we're going to have a Mint Mobile Hotline Questions of the Week, where not only are we going to be doing 1 or 2 hotline questions every day, but once a week, I'm just going to do a dedicated video where I'm going to pick 5, 6, or 7 of my favorite questions that didn't get asked on the main show here. And we're going to be doing that. So thank you guys for participating and phoning in those questions. And hopefully now we're going to be able to get a few more of those answered in a video. All right, guys.
That's pretty cool, dude.
I'm looking forward to that. I really love the questions people phone in. I think it's great. Okay, guys, with all that down, let's get into a couple of off the tops here, shall we? And we're going to start with this. Now, of course, back in April, Rob, you, me, and most of the crew, we went up to Vegas. We went to the annual CinemaCon, which I love CinemaCon. It's every year. It is my favorite event to go to.
It's pretty great.
Even more than Comic-Con or D23. Well, certainly more than D23. Is that a whiff of bitterness in the air? Maybe. But CinemaCon is, I'm like, seriously, for years, it has been my favorite thing to go to. And at CinemaCon, they showed us a whole hell of a lot of stuff. But one of the things they showed us was Babylon. This upcoming new Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, directed by Damien Chazelle, the same guy who wrote Whiplash, who directed La La Land, First Man, things like this. This is his new film coming, and it looked really good. Well, they dropped a new trailer for it.
Dude.
And it has some of the stuff that they showed us at CinemaCon. But a lot of stuff was in there too. This is a brand new trailer.
Oh, yeah.
This trailer is awesome. This is truly one of the best trailers I've seen all year. It has this wonder to it, this energy to it, this momentum to it. You know, I was telling you before the show started, I look at this trailer, it's like, this movie feels like Wolf of Wall Street and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood Efton had a baby, and that is Babylon. It's sexy, it's kinetic. Brad Pitt looks awesome in it. It's about the formation of the movie industry, so clearly that's going to appeal to us. But I thought this trailer was fantastic. Rob, you had a chance to take a look at this Babylon trailer. What did you think?
This movie was made just for me, John. I saw this trailer. First of all, Damien Chazelle. When I saw Whiplash, I was really knocked out by it. Obviously, J.K. Simmons won an Academy Award for that performance.
Miles Teller was brilliant in it.
Miles Teller was great in it. And I, as a filmmaker, I loved La La Land. I mean, I thought I really liked First Man. I thought it was a little dry, but I loved the filmmaking and everything in it. He's the real deal. He's one of the filmmakers where I don't care what he makes. I will roll out day one to see whatever he's done. But this film, the camera work in it, I mean, it's gorgeous. The cast, everyone's having, I mean, I laughed. This movie looks so much fun. And like Wolf of Wall Street before it, John, it opens on Christmas Day for Academy Award consideration. I know what I'm doing on December 25th.
Yeah, I think it's number 1, opening presents. Number 2, spending some time with the family. Number 3, slipping out and going over to the theater and watching Babylon, because this trailer, and Brad Pitt, by the way, that one scene, Margot Robbie's like, who wants to see me fight a snake? Dead silence. Brad Pitt, F yeah. And the whole, I mean, it's just crazy. And like, you're watching this, it's like, I don't know that there's any limits that this thing won't go. And it's an adult trailer. Like, this is a Red Band trailer.
Oh, there's flesh and drug use, and it makes me wish I lived back in the 20s. Actually, they roared, John. They roared.
Funny you mentioned that, because this is the way it's described. Where is it here? Okay. It is, there it is. This is from Deadline that wrote, the La La Land Oscar winner's latest is led by Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and Diego Acalva, and is billed as an original epic set in the 1920s Los Angeles as the industry makes the transition from silent films to talkies. a tale of outsized ambition and outrageous excess. It traces the rise and fall of multiple characters during an era of unbridled decadence, sounds like life around the John Campea show studios, and depravity in early Hollywood. And there's nothing about that Robert Meyer Burnett doesn't love the sounds of.
Nope.
Or any
I
of
mean,
us.
dude, you got to love a trailer where the sound of somebody sniffing in the stars around the Paramount logo happens.
cocaine.
And then it cuts to Margot Robbie snorting a fatty rail of uncut Peruvian flake, because I guess it was legal back then. Cocaine was legal.
I had no idea. Didn't
Oh yeah,
know.
no, it was legal. Like that's why Coca-Cola really had cocaine in it.
That I did know.
And then
yes.
you could get cocaine from like pharmacies.
Well, guys,
Party on.
question is for you. Did you have a chance to see this Babylon trailer? I thought it looked fantastic, even better than the stuff they showed us at CinemaCon. I can't wait to see it. What did you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's do another off the top, and that is this. It was one of the most interesting characters within the DC universe. And by interesting, I mean, it's really interesting to see what they're going to do with this character. How are they going to use this character? And that has been the character of Harley Quinn. And what do you do with Harley Quinn? Now, of course, even though a lot of people didn't like that first Suicide Squad movie, I personally did like it. It was a hot mess. The movie was a hot mess, no doubt. But I got a big kick out of it. I still got a lot of entertainment value out of the first one. The James Gunn version, clearly superior. But still, I liked that first one. And one of the highlights, one of the main reasons I liked it was Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. And I know it's the cool thing to hate on Jared Leto's Joker, but I think the best part of that first Suicide Squad movie was the dynamic between Jared Leto's Joker and Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I loved it, especially that one scene when they're at the nightclub and the dude kind of disrespects Harley a little bit. I mean, the dynamic of that is just so great. And I think one of the big problems of that first movie was they didn't use that dynamic more. That being said, clearly because of the popularity of the character, they went ahead and did a couple other things. They made what I think was a mistake in the Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation one, Harley Quinn. I like most DCEU movies, almost all of them. Not that one. That one did not work for me.
It needed more of an auteurist vision, I think.
It needed something. I don't know what it was, but that was just flat. And then they decided to make her one of the very few pieces that they were going to carry over from the first Suicide Squad into James Gunn's Suicide Squad. But unfortunately, that movie flopped, even though it's brilliant. It's a fantastic movie. But it left the question going, what do you really do with Harley Quinn now? And especially with the DCEU being in such upheaval and a lot of people not even really knowing right now what direction they're ultimately going to go. I think it's a fair thing that a lot of people assume that we've probably seen the last of Margot Robbie in the DCEU. Well, apparently not. Because answering some questions on Twitter, as he often does, James Gunn was straight up asked on Twitter, is Harley Quinn going to be back in the DCEU? And James Gunn just gave a one-word answer. Just a definitive yes. Yes, she is. Now, he didn't elaborate. He didn't go more into it, but it was a very straightforward question. There's nothing to read into here. No subtlety in the question. Will Harley Quinn be back in the DCEU? And James Gunn, no subtlety to his answer. Yes. It raises a question for me of should she come back? I mean, this really felt, especially going into the Fabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn, and then the way James Gunn used her in Suicide Squad, which again, brilliant movie. I wonder, what is there for Harley Quinn to do in the DCEU? I don't know that she works as the lead character. We kind of saw that a little bit in Birds of Prey. I think she works fantastic as an ensemble character. Mm-hmm. We saw that both, I think, in the first Suicide Squad and in the latest Suicide Squad.
Gunn used her really well.
Uses her very, very well. But I wonder if, especially when we see things like Babylon, I'm wondering if a lot of her attention should really just be more on, you know what? I'm in a position now that I could build a career that could become known as one of the greatest of all time if I manage my career right. She's already got at least one Academy Award nomination under her belt, might have two, I can't remember exactly. But with movies like Babylon and all this kind of stuff, she is poised.
Don't forget about Barbie.
Oh, and hey, listen, a lot of people are very excited about that Barbie movie she's got coming out with good Canadian kid Ryan Gosling. So it's just, should she go back to it? So, Rob, number one, were you surprised to hear James Gunn say that Harley Quinn is coming back to the DCU? And if it were up to you, do you think it's even a good move to have her in the DCU, especially in this kind of turnover kind of period?
Well, I think Margot Robbie's a phenomenal actress.
Incredible.
I mean, I Tanya, and she was so great in Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, she's one of our great actresses. So I think that, and she clearly loves playing the character of Harley Quinn. But again, Harley Quinn is a very difficult character, like you pointed out. She works great in an ensemble, but she's a difficult, like, I don't know if she is a leading character. And she does work so well in an ensemble, playing off other characters. And I think James Gunn proved, I mean, what is Suicide Squad, his Suicide Squad, if not a great ensemble film? I mean, take the superhero-ness out of it all, it's a great ensemble. He got a bunch of great actors. He put them together, and their interaction was so entertaining. And I could see that he has plans. I mean, you can't tell me he didn't have plans for her when he was making Suicide Squad. I'm sure they talked. And so whatever he wanted to do, I think that she's somebody that people like. You like the character. Look at how much you love the animated series. People love this character.
Love the character.
And what you need is great writing and great direction to make that character as fun and as big and robust as we want her to be. And I think James Gunn's the guy to do it.
Do you think, let me throw a wild thing out here, because if you were to say to me, Margot Robbie, plug her into a TV show, I'd say, she probably wouldn't do that. But what if that TV show is the #1 show in the world? Could you see Gunn convincing a Margot Robbie to maybe pop up in a Peacemaker or something like that?
You know what? I think that we now live in a world where if these actors are having a good time, they're working with world-class filmmakers, and James Gunn were to ask her, why not? Because no longer do we live in a world where people are worried about their professional, like, oh my God, is this going to hurt my professional career? No, because when they were to pop up in something like that, it becomes something that people love. It's no longer, the line between television and film is totally blurred. It used to not be, but with streaming shows, everybody, that doesn't exist.
That stigma seems to be gone now.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be good. Not just, you can't just use her as like, this week on Peacemakers, Margot Robbie shows up. It's got to be, when she shows up, it's got to be good. And I think I don't think James Gunn would ask her unless it wasn't excellent.
And if Peacemaker didn't become the global phenomenon that it was, that maybe it's not something they could do. Anyway, guys, question is for you. James Gunn is saying that Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is going to be back in the DCEU. Where? When? How? Which way are they going to use this character? Do you think it's a good idea? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, before we go any further here today, we want to take a second to thank one of the sponsors of today's show and for feeding me dinner the other night, our good friends over at HelloFresh. Hey guys, we want to thank one of the sponsors of today's video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep and completely ready to prepare. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And guys, I know we are always looking for ways to save some money. In fact, HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout, and it's even more cheaper than going to the grocery store too. And HelloFresh isn't just for dinners. Shop HelloFresh Market for quick breakfasts, wholesome snacks, and even desserts. You'll find everything you need to satisfy your cravings without stepping a foot in the grocery store or mini-mart. Listen, you know, I've told you guys before, Ann and I are both working professionals, so finding time to eat healthy and eat together is often challenging. But I'm telling you, these HelloFresh meal kits have made it easy to eat a lot healthier, it's less expensive for us, and we have a blast. And there's nothing like feeling like a chef when you put the final product on the plate. So right now, go to HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the promo code Campea16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the promo code Campea16. And thank you to our friends at HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Just a reminder, guys, you can find links to all of our sponsors and the promo codes down in the description below. And remember, when you support one of our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. And guys, I honestly highly recommend you guys try out HelloFresh. I think you'd be glad that you did. All right, guys. with that down, let's now get into our new segment here on the show, our Mint Mobile Hotline question of the day. And let's get on over there now. If you guys have a question that you'd like to hear your own voice on our show, you can call this hotline number anytime 24/7, 951-268-4259. So, Jonathan, what's on our hotline today?
Hey guys, it's me, Izzy. I have a very simple question regarding the new Fantastic Four movie and the cast. When do you think the announcement's going to be made? Will it be New York Comic Con? Will it be somewhere else? Or will they just drop it? Thanks for everything and take care.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And of course, look, D23 just happened. A lot of people believed that this was going to be the moment. I mean, we believed it too. This was going to be the moment that they were going to announce officially the cast of Fantastic Four. We've heard a lot of the pieces of the cast have already been brought together. And then D23 came and went and they didn't announce the cast. Now, I mentioned on the show the other day, there's probably a really good reason for that. And it's probably, I'm guessing, nobody's told me this, I'm simply guessing, but it seems to me that because it's such a no-brainer that they should have announced the cast at D23, that there was probably a good reason they didn't. And that's probably that one of the actors, maybe two of the actors, haven't quite signed the final contract yet, and Disney doesn't want to get caught with their pants down around their knees. If that they announce this person as being one of the cast members of Fantastic Four, then in a month they got to walk it back and say, oops, sorry, our bad. Now it's going to be somebody else. So that's my guess as to why they didn't announce it. But it does raise the question, if not at D23, when? Now, we've got New York City Comic Con coming up. When is that held? November, December, October? I can't even remember, but I know New York City. If one of you guys, Taylor, can look that up when New York City Comic Con is coming up, but it's coming up. So there is October. That. When it's October. So it's actually coming up sooner than I thought. So you could target that. I know DC is making some big plans to make some announcements and everything at New York City Comic Con, which has been getting bigger every year. That could work. I have a feeling, though, it's just going to come out in a press release. And I'll tell you why. Because with the way things are today, with the major outlets having such well-connected sources and all this kind of stuff, I think Marvel knows that every single day that passes doubles the chances that the cast just gets that one of these outlets is just going to break the story and say, we officially now know.
Yeah.
We have confirmed with 5 different sources. We've got it. Here it is. And I think Marvel would love to capture that thunder instead of let somebody else steal that thunder. And I don't know that they can make it to New York City Comic Con without one of these places finally getting the final official confirmation. Like I still believe Jodie Comer is going to be Sue Storm. I cannot prove that. I cannot verify that. I cannot confirm it, but I still believe that's going to be Sue Storm. But I don't really have a good handle on Reed unless it's the guy from You. I don't really have a good read on Ben or Johnny or whatever. So I think they're pushing it. So my guess is it's going to come out in a press release. I think they would have liked to have done a D23, but I think it's going to come out in a press release unless, of course, they can somehow make it to New York City Comic Con. Anyway, Rob, the Fantastic Four didn't get announced. When are we going to get that announcement, do you think?
Well, I think you're probably right that it's going to come out in a press release. Look, they just hired Matt Shakman as the director, and for what we understand or what we've heard, a director's usually intimately involved with casting, and they just brought him on board. So John, I was under the impression that Marvel probably already had their Fantastic Four cast locked in, but apparently they don't, because if they did, like you said, they probably would announce it because for fear it would get leaked some other way. But with Matt Shakman being hired, maybe they're just not done casting yet. Maybe they're still looking into who's going to, I don't know if they're doing chemistry reads with people, like putting actors together to see how it all works or not, because that way things can leak too. Well, I went in for a read for, Marvel, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but I think you're right. I think it's probably going to happen in a press release somehow, because they've announced the director. We know, see, this movie, John, this has been percolating for a long time.
Well, they announced it over 2 years ago.
Over 2 years ago.
I mean, it just still feels like yesterday that Disney Investors Day call happened, and that was a great event. That was a fabulous event.
Really good.
But it was over 2 years ago. And see, I don't believe for a second they don't know who their lineup is going to be.
Right.
I think they know who it's going to be. My guess is they probably got a couple of them completely locked down, but sometimes negotiations can drag
Yeah,
on.
it could be there might be a scheduling issue that they have to wait 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months and then they can announce it, because I'm sure once it's announced they want to hit the ground running. They don't want to announce it and then like, well, we're going to go into production sometime in 2023.
Well, I think
know,
they probably
it-
are
this-
going. What's that?
This thing is listed at the end, or like 2024, right?
Yeah, I
We
think
still
it's
have a long way to go. I think they're just not ready.
It's
That's it.
not that long of a way to go. Like, work on these types of this size of movie. It's
2 years.
People think that the movie begins being made once the actors are on set and they start shooting. It doesn't. The work on these movies start half a year, longer than that beforehand. And for a lot of the work that's getting done before they even start rolling the cameras, you got to know who the actors are and you got to have these things. So they will be shooting by 2023. I mean, in 2023, they'll be shooting this movie, but there's a lot of work that already has to start on this thing. And so they don't have a lot of time, I don't think, to get. That's why when Ben Affleck was announced, we go back to this a lot, but it's a really good point because it's not unusual. When Ben Affleck was announced as Batman, we found out later, you know, when Ben was talking about it, he had actually signed the deal 8 months before the announcement was made. And they had already started modeling a lot of things and the designing of all these things. So
I had a question. What's the longest you think Marvel, like out of nowhere, pushed back a movie? They usually seem to be on their slate pretty good, right? When they announce their slate and have dates.
Well, I mean,
they're usually pretty good
pandemic
with that.
notwithstanding. Yeah, they usually are pretty tight about keeping their dates.
But you know, who knows?
Well, it was like Marvel's was supposed to come out this year in Wakanda Forever's position originally, and then it got pushed back into 2023.
Well, pandemic messed a lot of
Yeah.
things up, right? So notwithstanding pandemic, like even when DC and Marvel ended up having movies scheduled to come out the same days, it's happened twice. Marvel never moved. So, I mean, yeah, there have been some bumps here and there, but again, if you take the pandemic out of it, it didn't happen very often.
No.
Not often.
Except with the Inhumans.
Oh, God. let's not talk about
I'm just kidding.
Well, my last thing is I wouldn't wait for a big event. I think this is something they would probably just drop on the Thursday.
Yeah. No, I think
Just
you're
a
right.
regular Thursday.
I think you're right. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about that? When do you think we will hear a Fantastic Four announcement? Do you think they'll roll the dice and try to make it to the next big event like a New York City Comic-Con or maybe another special? They'll schedule a special day at the El Capitan Theater like they did for the announcement of Phase 3. Do you think they'll just put it out in a press release? Maybe one of these outlets will get out ahead of it and be able to break the story themselves. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. You know what? Special day today. So not only are we going to do one Mint Mobile Hotline question of the day, we're going to do a second Mint Mobile Hotline question of the day. So what is our second question today, Jonathan?
Hey, this is Connor Johnson. What's up, John and crew? I just wanted to ask what your thoughts were on the fact that Disney's Werewolf by Night special has been listed as a comedy under the genre thing on Disney+. I thought that was pretty interesting. I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
And like Obi-Wan said, it was as if there were millions of voices cried out in terror. Okay, so one of the interesting things that was released during D23 was the Werewolf by Night trailer. I thought it was, I mean, I didn't love it as much as most people did, but a lot of people were very, very taken with it and thought they're going to go this noir horror and blah, blah. But here's what happened. What he's talking about is this. The official page for Werewolf by Night has now gone up on Disney+. And like they do on all the things, they have like name of movie, drama, or name of movie, thriller, or name of movie, action. Werewolf by Night, comedy. And it's only listed as a comedy. Now, Rob, yesterday I mentioned that this almost feels like, I saw the trailer and I thought it felt like satire. And so I don't know if that's actually what's happening, that they're actually going with satire in this. Maybe yes, maybe no. But here's my question for you. Is it really so bad if it's comedy? I mean, you're talking about spoofing a 1930s, 1940s style of filmmaking, it being directed by Michael Giacchino. I mean, if you could make this, and it's short, this isn't a feature-length thing. It's going to be a Halloween special. And if they can do this and make it really entertaining and fun, I think winning cures everything, right? Everybody will be okay with it. But I know there were some people who really thought they were going to truly go for the horror in this. And I don't know, maybe Disney Plus just mislabeled it. But I checked it again this morning. It's still there. Comedy. Werewolf by Night comedy. So I don't know, Rob, you read that. What's your interpretation of it?
Well, look, like you said, comedy can be great. Your American Werewolf in London has great comedic scenes.
It does have some great comedic scenes in it, yeah.
You've got one of the characters gets killed by a werewolf but comes back as a rotting corpse who rots throughout the movie. But here's the thing. That idea is kind of funny, but it's still horrific in what happens, even though the interchange between the characters is funny. It takes a real deft touch to make horror and comedy work well together. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. But when it does work, it's great. My only disappointment in hearing this is, one, Moon Knight, Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night, these are great, spooky horror characters in the Marvel Universe. And they haven't really shown us what is the supernatural. I mean, we saw it with Agatha Harkness and a little bit of supernatural stuff, but what does the supernatural look like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? What do vampires, we're going to get Blade, and Blade ain't going to be a comedy. So what do vampires
One
look
would
like?
hope.
I would hope, and with an actual werewolf and hopefully transformations and all the things that we've seen, I kind of wanted them to lead, but that doesn't mean, look, I wanted them to lean into the horror. That's what I wanted to see. But this does, it could go either way for me. I'm still really interested in it. It looked more, like you said, like a satire rather than balls to the wall comedy, because I hope it's not that. But as a satire, as a horror satire, that could really work the same way What We Do in the Shadows works. Maybe they took a cue from that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I don't know what this is. Is this an animatronic guy with his arms? It looked goofy. I don't know what Frankenstein, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's like at the Magic Castle. I'm still holding out hope. I think this is going to be great. It looked great to me. It looks like it's a lot of fun. Fingers crossed on this one, dude.
Listen, I'll tell you what, I'm not terribly concerned about it because, again, winning cures everything. People may get upset seeing the word comedy, but the fact is, if it's really funny and it really works and people laugh and are entertained, it's going to be a big win. Now, the opposite side of that, this could end up being the Star Wars Christmas special of the Marvel Cinematic Universe if it goes badly. Like if it does not work. But so winning cures everything, losing.
It's funny because there's like the original Return of the Living Dead, which is this punk rock zombie satire. Send more cops. A lot of fun. Return of the Living Dead 2, god awful. God awful. And it's hard to know, John. But you know what? I like the cast a lot. And fingers crossed. I love the black and white.
Again, I love that Marvel is constantly trying to do things they've never done before,
yes.
Right? And you got to respect that. And so, I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Question is for you guys. What do you think about hearing that Werewolf by Night is listed as a comedy? Hey, listen, maybe that's a little bit of a misdirect on their part too. But whatever. Remember, the original Blade and Blade 2, a lot of jokes.
Right.
A lot of people forget about that. Those first two Blade movies, lots of jokes. Maybe this is going to be a blend of the two different things, right?
The whole opening sequence of Blade at the blood rave. That's got horror in it, an action adventure, but it also is, a blood coming out of sprinklers.
Dude, they got a scene where a vampire is sitting in a dirty club and pulling out a box of tissues. Like, come on. So you can balance it. Let's see what they do with it. What are you looking forward to Werewolf by Night? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, we're now going to move into our main topics here today. But before we do, we're going to take a second and hear from another one of our sponsors, our friends doing good work over at BetterHelp. Hey guys, we want to thank one of the sponsors of today's video, BetterHelp. Let me ask you something. How well would you take care of your car if you knew that was going to be the only car you ever had for your entire life? Well, that's how our brains and our minds work. So why don't we treat them the same way? Because how we take care of our minds will affect how we experience life. So it's important to invest time and care into keeping it healthy. Now, there are plenty of ways to support a healthy brain, like learning a new language or taking power naps, but there's also BetterHelp online therapy. Now, I've talked about this before, but I've never understood this stigma stigma attached to people wanting to seek out ways to improve their mental health. When somebody decides to go to the gym to improve their physical health, we think that's great. Well, that's the same way we need to look at taking care of our mental health as well. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat-only therapy sessions. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you're not comfortable with that. And it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. So guys, listen, right now, the John Campea Show viewers and listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for doing good work and for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's now get into those main topics. And how do we select our main topics here on the show? Well, that's simple. You guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you guys come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Actually, let's take off my lower third on there so people can see the address that they need to go to. Yeah. And yes, it's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Rob, what is our first main topic today?
Well, John, our first main topic comes to us from Jaron Weatherly. Hello, John and team. Have seen the brand new trailer for Steven Spielberg's semi-autobiographical film, The Fabelmans. As a longtime Spielberg fan, I am very excited to see a fuller artistic depiction of the family themes that the director has only ever hinted at in past films like E.T. and Catch Me If You Can. With the celebratory reviews coming out of TIFF, how excited are you for The Fabelmans?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. I have got to learn my lesson because I believe that Steven Spielberg is simply the greatest filmmaker in the history of the medium. I believe that wholeheartedly. And yet, I have not had a lot of belief in his two most recent projects. I said for a year leading up to it that West Side Story was a mistake. That who cares about a remake musical of an old, like, I get it, Steven, you probably loved that movie when you were younger, but like, why? And it ended up, in my estimation, being the best film of the year. I was floored every second. And of course, then I reminded myself, what was I thinking? It's Steven Spielberg. Of course it was going to be a masterpiece. And I thought it was the best film of the year. And it was nominated for Best Picture of the Year. And all kinds of that. What he did in that, it was a masterclass in direction. That entire movie was a masterclass in direction. But he had this other movie coming out that's basically his life story called The Fabelmans. And he called it that instead of calling it The Spielbergs. And it's a story about him as a kid, his mother, who's a world-renowned pianist, his father, and growing up with his love and the passion of the movies. And I thought, that seems a little self-indulgent. And I don't know that anybody's going to care. I mean, you got Michelle Williams in there. You got Paul Dano in there. I mean, look, the cast is great, but come on. Well, I saw the trailer for it. And I felt, and I can only speak for myself, I don't know about the rest of you guys, watching this kid on screen falling in love with the medium of the movies and the magic and the spell that can cast over you. I felt it too. I felt it too watching this trailer. And then you get into his mother. I've met Steven Spielberg's mother. And he gets into the mother and the father and the drama of it and all that kind of stuff. And I love that one part when he says, your hobby, please don't call it my hobby. We were talking about the Babylon trailer a little bit earlier today. And I said, this might be the best trailer all year. This also might be the best trailer all year. And the reviews are now coming out of TIFF. And by TIFF, we mean the Toronto International Film Festival, maybe the most important film festival in the world. And the reviews are now coming out. They've screened it there. And they're not just calling it a great movie. Some of the people coming out of it are saying this is Steven Spielberg's best movie. There are a lot of people coming out and saying it is yet another Steven Spielberg masterpiece. A lot of the word masterpiece is being thrown around a lot about this movie. Now, I have not seen it myself, so I can't call it anything. But I have seen the trailer, and I thought the trailer looked Absolutely fantastic. I love hearing this. And maybe now I will learn my lesson that I will never doubt Steven Spielberg again. If he says he's going to make a movie tomorrow about a fork, I'm just going to believe it's probably going to be one of the best things of the year. Anyway, Rob, you saw the trailer and you've seen the reviews coming out for the Fabelmans. What's your reaction to all this?
Well, it's funny, John. I love this trailer. And the funny thing is, I think Spielberg's wanted to tell this story for a long time, but probably didn't because he felt like it would be too self-indulgent. But now that he's in his 70s, and this idea of a family where a father wants you to be, no, nose to the grindstone, those dreams you have, put them aside. And the mother's like, no, you're an artist. That is an inherently interesting story that I think now, by him telling it, we're far enough removed, because it's a period piece, where no one's going to accuse him of being self-indulgent, because now what's promised in this story, this kid, it's not just a hobby, Mom, was bared out by his life.
Yeah.
And you think about it, we just saw, John, the re-release of
This picture looks like the beginning of a new Batman movie.
Right.
I know, right? We just saw last week, Jaws got re-released in real 3D.
Yeah.
And it's been thrilling audiences as if it were a new film. That movie came out in 1975. So we've been getting Close Encounters in 77. I like 1941, but 1941, in 79, Raiders in 81, E.T. in 82, then all the things he produced, Temple of Doom in 84, Color Purple, Empire of the Sun. I mean, the man, like you said, his filmography, like I told you, doubting him, I remember buying Lincoln on Blu-ray, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy it. I was always bored. It was going down the bottom of my pile. And then when I finally watched Lincoln, dude, I watched it 5 nights in a row. I'm like, God, this guy is, no one's better. You're right.
He's the greatest. He is the GOAT.
This trailer,
He's the greatest
dude,
of all time.
I mean, I watched this film and it hit me in the feels. I get it. And he did make those movies. I mean, he snuck onto the Universal lot when he was 21 and started directing TV. He set himself up in an office and he just told people, yep, this is my office. I mean, what balls?
I'm pretty sure that's how Ray got in here. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure.
There's a big, measuring stick this movie has to live up to. You know what movie I'm talking about?
Oh, God.
You know what movie.
Does it start with the T?
Followed by another T in the other word.
Yeah.
Terminal.
One thing I always thought was interesting about him is that when he had made Close Encounters, he said he made that as a single man, about a man who could leave his family because you're following a passion. And he couldn't empathize with the downside of that. It's like, why wouldn't you follow your passion? You have to do. And then when he came around to do E.T., it's the flip side. It's about a family whose father left them. And he realized he could never do that now. And that sensibility is felt throughout E.T. So it shows you how much of a personal connection he takes to the films he makes.
It really does. And, again, the one filmmaker, I love Quentin Tarantino. But when you watch all of Quentin Tarantino's movies, they definitely all feel like Quentin Tarantino movies. I love Scorsese. But when you look at a Scorsese film, you definitely feel this is Scorsese. Steven Spielberg is like the one GOAT where he can do everything. He can do sci-fi, period piece, biopic, thriller, like comedy, whatever. He could just do everything and make it all musical. He can do it all.
Let me ask you this: the title,
The Fabelmans.
He is the Fable Man.
I didn't even think about it that way.
And I don't know if that's why it's called that, because he by the way, he co-wrote the script with Tony Kushner.
Yep.
Now, I know he worked on the script for AI, but he inherited that from Spielberg, and he does have a credit on Close Encounters.
Or not from, he inherited from
Kubrick.
Kubrick.
Yeah. Spielberg inherited it from Kubrick.
Yes.
But he has a writing credit on that. But so he hasn't written a lot in his life. And the fact that he worked with Tony Kushner, I believe he got Kushner to write West Side Story for him as well. I mean, one of the great playwrights in America. So it doesn't surprise me that this film is as great as it is.
All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the trailer and the reactions coming out of Toronto for The Fabelmans? It looks like it's going to be one of our Best Picture nominees, even though I haven't seen it yet myself, so I will withhold judgment. But what do you guys think about the reaction so far? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Rob, what is our second main topic today?
Our second main topic comes to us from Taylor Mantini. The Emmys this year were a lot of fun. Not a whole ton of surprises, but really wonderful. And one of the best moments for me was seeing Zendaya win Best Actress for Euphoria, and she made history while doing it. She's now the youngest actress ever to win Best Actress twice at just 26 years old. What do you think about her accomplishment? Thanks.
You can't overstate it. What Zendaya has accomplished here, it's actually a number of things she's accomplished. Number one, when she won her first Best Lead Actress Emmy, she became the youngest actress to ever do it. Now she's the youngest actress ever to do it twice. And she's accomplished a few other things as well. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who wrote the following. Zendaya made history once again by winning the Emmy Award for Lead Actress in a Drama Series for her performance in Euphoria. She became the youngest lead actress in a drama winner with her first win for Euphoria in 2020. And now, at 26 years old, Zendaya is the youngest actress to win 2 Emmys and the first Black woman to win the Emmy for Lead Actress in a Drama Series twice. During her speech, Zendaya thanked cast and crew of Euphoria, as well as all those who have shared with her their stories of addiction. There is, every once in a while, you come across a personality in entertainment who is either like an adored fan favorite or the auteur, whatever. Like you'll get, I'm trying to think of somebody who's just like really just adored by fans a lot. I'm not sure. And then you'll get a Daniel Day-Lewis, who's more the auteur. Every once in a while, you'll come across a personality who looks like they have the potential to be both. I personally started taking Zendaya more serious, like legit seriously, when I saw her in The Greatest Showman. Because she's up there on this screen in a supporting role with one of the true powerhouse performers of our generation, which is Hugh Jackman. A terrific, maybe career-defining performance, in my opinion, for Zac Efron in that as well. And it's a wonderful movie. It's a kinetic movie. I love The Greatest Showman. I love this movie. But she comes on screen in that. And when she's on screen, she owns the screen. And she's got these magical moments with Zac Efron. And you're in this movie that could easily leave a lesser performer behind. But she fit right in there. And then now I don't watch Euphoria regularly because I saw the first few episodes and it just made me feel bad.
Yeah.
And so, but the show is brilliant. It's brilliantly made, but it just made my soul feel heavy. So it's just not something I could watch. But even I could tell from the first half of the first episode, my God, she's great in this.
She is great.
And as she's continued to appear in more and more things moving, she was in this one that was just like a 2-person one where it was her, and was it David Washington? I think it was John
David
Washington.
It was like that pandemic movie.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, oh my God. Like she was like,
Malcolm and Marie.
thank you. It was like, this is awards worthy. Like her performance. I didn't think the overall thing was great, but like the performances in it were incredible. What she has accomplished here should not just be swept under the rug. This is huge. This is a girl who's still, and I say girl, she's just 26 years old.
Yeah.
And she's got all the tools. She's a well-rounded entertainer. She can, again, watch Greatest Showman. Then she can sing, she can move, she can act. She's got a great look. She's got seemingly a really level head about the entire industry and business. She is going to be a seminal powerhouse in this industry for a long, long time. And I think it's incredible what she just accomplished. Anyway, Rob, you just see this, winning her second Best Lead Actress Emmy. What do you think?
Well, I think it's great. And like you pointed out, I mean, she's the real deal. She's a well-rounded performer. She could do everything. It's funny because I always thought that the Spider-Man movies have not served her well.
No, they really haven't.
They've never written her character to be something other than it is. Because she
always makes the best of it though.
Yeah, no, she makes the best of the part. I just wish they wrote, because you can tell that, because they've written her kind of like as this reserved character. And I've always wanted her to sort of break free, and it's so great. Dude, when I started watching Euphoria, and like you, I'm like, whoa, wow, she goes to a different high school than she did when she's in a Spider-Man movie. But she's incredible. I mean, incredible in that show. But like you said, it's a tough watch. But to see this and to see her recognized by her peers, I think it's terrific. I mean, I did watch a lot of the Emmys last night. What a great, it was a great, very jubilant ceremony. I really liked it. And it was great to see her win again.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Zendaya has just become the youngest actress ever to win Best Lead Actress in a Drama twice at 26. It's incredible. What do you think the future holds for her? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take another second here and thank another sponsor of our show here today. They make me feel smooth and glorious all over. Our friends at Manscaped. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, you know I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped isn't more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver. It's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Campea. That's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Campea at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. And thank you to our friends at Manscaped for being there for men everywhere. Guys, I'm not kidding.
He means everywhere.
Everywhere. It is like the greatest tool I have in my bathroom. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. Let that image seep into your mind. But it's great. Check out Manscaped, guys. All right. With that down, let's now move on, thankfully, to main topic number 3. Rob, what is our third main topic today?
The third main topic comes from Mike. Good morning, everyone. I don't normally pay a lot of attention to the Emmys, but I was really happy to see my two favorite shows both won Best Series at the awards. Succession for Best Drama and Ted Lasso for Best Comedy. Do you think the Emmys got it right? And what do you think of these two shows? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Well, I mean, first thing, let me just say this. When it comes to Oscars or Emmys, like, I reject this whole idea of, oh, the Oscars got it right or the Emmys got it right. There's a lot of good contenders. A number of them are worthy to win and all this kind of stuff. Did a good one win? Yeah. In both cases of Best Drama and Best Comedy. Under Drama, at the Emmys last night, Succession won Best Drama Series. And listen to the lineup of the nominees. Obviously, Succession, Yellow Jackets, Stranger Things, Squid Games, Severance, Ozark, Euphoria, and Better Call Saul. That was a stacked lineup. I am beside myself that Yellowstone was not a nominee. To me, that's the best show on TV. But other than that, I think Succession is probably the best show on TV. I mean, that show is just, it took me a little while to get into it, but Anne kept pestering me to get on board with it. And it's like, now I'm like, oh my God, the way the last season ended, that whole Godfather kind of moment, dear God, that show's good. That show is so good. But there are a number, see, that's when you ask, did they get it right? I mean, there's a couple on here. Like, I wouldn't have blinked if they announced Severance won Best Show of the Year. I wouldn't have blinked. That would have been fine. I wouldn't have blinked if they announced Euphoria or Better Call Saul. I mean, there's a lot of good worthy ones, but yeah, I'm totally on board with Succession winning that. It is a next level kind of show, and good on it. And then when you stroll on over into the comedy series, I mean, the best comedy we've had in years and years is Ted Lasso. And it is making a habit out of winning these things. And listening to this lineup that it had to go up against. What We Do in the Shadows, which I just watched the season finale. What a great season this was of What We Do in the Shadows. Only Murders in the Building, which is fantastic and everybody loves it. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which has won this award before, Hacks, which everybody loves, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Barry, and one of the more recent newer shows that my wife completely loves, Abbott Elementary. That is a stacked category. But really, even as great as all these were, Ted Lasso is the one that's going to win that. And it's a comedy that has found a way to make you laugh and to make you feel at the same time. And not a lot of comedies can do that, can do both of those really, really effectively and really, really well. And Ted Lasso is just, and by the way, and I didn't even like the show that much after the first episode. I watched the first episode, I'm like, eh. And Ann convinced me, let's just give it another couple of episodes. I'm like, all right. And of course,
he looks like he's giving his best Godfather there.
Yeah. By the way, and then Sudeikis, also Jason Sudeikis went on to win Best Actor. And Olivia Wilde is shaking her fist at the heavens somewhere right now. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But Sudeikis takes home, well-deserved, the Emmy, of course, for Best Lead Actor in it as well. So, like, Rob, again, there are a number of shows, like if they had announced that Only Murders in the Building had won, I wouldn't have blinked.
No.
I mean, maybe that's not the one I would have picked, but yeah, that would totally work.
It's a wonderful show.
What We Do in the Shadows, Abbott Elementary, all good, but again, I feel very, very comfortable and very happy for both of those shows. Both of these shows right here, Succession, Ted Lasso, these are great examples of the excellence that is on television right now. And I'm perfectly happy with the wins. Rob, you saw the results coming up here. What stood out to you?
I mean, I feel the same way. I thought, first of all, like you said, a stacked deck, great categories. Any one of those shows could have won. I was surprised to hear about Better Call Saul, though. Do you know apparently it's been nominated for something like 46 Emmys and has never won one?
Oh, wow.
What, has never won a single one?
Emmy. Now, I heard this today. I'm not sure if that's true.
That's a stunning statistic.
It's a stunning statistic. I couldn't believe it. But, but look, Succession and Ted Lasso, shows which I've both watched, are great. Who doesn't love them? I will say this, though, Abbott Elementary, Cheryl Lee Ralph winning for Best Actress, Best Comedy Actress, gave one of the greatest.
Yeah, she won Best Supporting, I think, yeah.
Oh, was it Best Supporting?
Best Supporting, yeah.
Best speech I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I didn't see it.
You just look it up and watch the whole thing. It's just, even if it's just the greatest acceptance speech I think I've ever seen at an award show. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Go Cheryl Lee Ralph. God bless you. That was just, she made my heart sing last night.
And of course, Hercules, Roy Kent from Ted Lasso also took home again
the award,
a second award for Best Supporting.
No, I thought it was there's something about this awards season. It just goes to show you, John, there is so much great streaming television shows being made now. I mean, it's sort of replaced. Cinema is still great, but we're not getting the kind of things that we're getting on the small screen, on the big screen. I mean, we're still getting great spectacles and awesome movies, but not the kind of things that sit in your heart and mind.
I don't know that I agree with that, because we say that sometimes, and then the Oscar season comes along, and we sit down. We do this every year, you and I. We look at the Oscar list where you go, damn, this was a really fantastic year of movies,
there's things like Everything Everywhere All at Once couldn't have been that's a movie.
Yeah,
and Everything Everywhere All at Once and it looks to be something like Babylon is that too. And there's been some
Fabelmans.
Fabelmans. Yeah. So we're getting that stuff. But man, I mean, in terms of the wide breadth of subject matter and between comedies and dramas and limited series, man, we are living in a golden age of entertainment.
I don't really pay a lot of attention to the Emmys anymore. You and I were talking about this off camera yesterday. The reason is, I find that there's just too many categories now.
Yeah.
And I feel like 78 people walked away with an acting Emmy yesterday, right? And it kind of diminishes. That's why I care about like 4 or 5 things. I care about Best Drama Series, Best Comedy Series. But because there's a lot of categories now. But like they didn't, like even at the main Emmys now, they don't even do Best Animated at the main Emmys.
Right.
That's like off at a secondary thing where Arcane won, which we talked about that, and I was thrilled to see that.
Well deserved.
But again, Succession, Ted Lasso, can't really go wrong with those. Guys, question is, what did you think? Did you like the winners list? Maybe you liked them, but you kind of thought you would have voted for something else. Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's now move on to main topic number 4. Rob, What is our fourth main topic today?
Our fourth main topic comes to us from Benson's brother. Hi, crew. I just saw a Variety article summarizing an interesting interview with Brendan Fraser. Among other things, he was asked about the cancellation of Batgirl and said that his takeaway was to, quote, work with trusted filmmakers. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, or maybe he misspoke, but he seems to be placing the blame for the film's failure cancellation at the feet of the directors. Adil, let me see if I can get this right, Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falala. Do you think this is what he meant?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And of course, the Batgirl drama has been a pretty big thing going on a lot over the past couple of months. Of course, the Batgirl was canceled. Now, before the Batgirl was canceled, a lot of people in this industry had heard from a lot of studio sources that the movie was not good, that the movie was not turning out well. We had all heard about it. Some things got leaked out, some things didn't, whatever, but we'd all heard the same thing. The movie gets canceled. And then a couple of weeks ago, they held what they called a funeral screening of the movie for a lot of the studio people and people who were involved in the film and never actually got a chance to watch it themselves. And Rob, coming out of that, the basic word coming out of it was, yeah, here's the quote, that was basically an expensive CW show. It was not good. Like the feedback was not good. So this is interesting. Brendan Fraser right now is having his own reconnaissance, like a massive resurgence right now. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. But yeah, he got asked about the cancellation of Batgirl, and his statement was rather surprising. This is what he said. This comes from the folks at Variety. And Brendan Fraser said this: the fans really wanted to see this film made. Leslie Grace is a dynamo. He couldn't speak. I actually watching it. He couldn't say enough about Leslie Grace. Leslie Grace is a dynamo, Fraser said. The movie was shot and conceived for a smaller screen. In this age that we've come out of now, between streaming services versus theatrical release, it would end up being a canary in the coal mine. What did we learn from this? Work with trusted filmmakers like Darren. Now, what does he mean by like Darren? During this interview, he was sitting beside his director in The Whale, Darren Aronofsky. So when asked, what's your takeaway from it? My takeaway is work with trusted filmmakers like Darren. Okay. There are a couple of ways of looking at this. On its surface, this pretty clearly looks like shots fired at the directors of the film. I mean, granted, I don't fault anybody who read that and is running around right now saying this is Brendan Fraser taking a direct shot at the filmmakers, saying these were filmmakers like you couldn't be trusted. And my takeaway, work with trusted filmmakers like Darren Aronofsky. I get that. I do. I would propose that there is also a second way of looking at that. And that is that this interview, the context of this interview was the promotion of The Whale. And he was sitting with his director, Darren Aronofsky, who took a chance on Brendan Fraser to be the lead of this film, and maybe the single guy responsible for this incredible resurgence that Brendan Fraser's having right now. And this was just Brendan finding a way to bring the conversation back to The Whale and back to the people he's working with, and wanted to find an opportunity to heap more praise on Darren Aronofsky. Brendan Fraser being such a nice, positive guy, I tend to look for an interpretation of his words in a nice, positive kind of way. So look, did I look at that statement and instantly think maybe he was taking a shot at the filmmakers? Yeah, maybe. And that could very well be. That could very well be the biggest blow up that he has about this whole thing. This could be the biggest venting he does, is just say, from now on, just work with trusted filmmakers like Darren Aronofsky. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just him trying to play a compliment to Darren Aronofsky. I mean, I don't know, Rob. I certainly don't think it was the best choice of words. Number one, if he was kind of taking a veiled shot at them, why take a veiled shot at them? What are you accomplishing by taking a veiled shot at the directors who just did their best to make a movie? Even if it didn't turn out well, I'm sure they probably put their heart and soul into it and tried to do it well. If he wasn't trying to take a shot at them, he really should have been more aware of the way his words were coming out. I know, Rob, you read this comment. What do you take away from it?
Well, I thought the thing that struck me the most was that he said that this was a film that was conceived for the small screen.
Right.
You know, it was never supposed to be a theatrical feature. And then, of course, they decided to expand it, put more money into it, whatever. And I think, look, these directors, I don't know much about them. They did Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah, they did a good job on Bad Boys. I mean, it's not an Oscar winner, but I like that film.
I like that too, but, you know, that movie was carried a lot by Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I mean, so their charisma carried that film. I would have been more curious to see a movie that these directors had written and directed. They're not that experienced. They're not seasoned filmmakers. So I don't think that he was necessarily taking a shot at them, but I think what happened was they were hired to do something, which was make an HBO movie of Batgirl. And in its conception, you know, it's the way you approach things when movies are being developed. Like if you know you're making a movie for the big screen, your thought process is different than if it's being made for TV. It's a faster process. You're not thinking in terms of cinematic scope the way you would for, I mean,
no, but remember, they weren't making a TV show.
They
were still making. a movie.
I understand,
Yeah.
but they were still not working with $100 million budget. Maybe they were. I don't know, but I think that's more along the lines of what he was saying. Like, look, Darren Aronofsky is an experienced feature filmmaker that's been working for 25 years. You know, and that I think that's what he meant. I don't think he was taking a shot at the directors because they probably did do a good job. You know, they probably did do the best job that they could. And then when this thing was now supposed to be theatrical release, it now has to compete with Matt Reeves' The Batman. It was never going to be able to kill it.
Fantastic film.
Unless you're going to shoot a movie that way to begin with, you know, it's a different mindset making movies for broadcast or making movies for theatrical. And I think that's kind of, at least that's what I'd like to believe he was leaning into. Because it's always, look, these poor guys, I feel so bad for these guys because their entire career was derailed by this. I mean, you think they can walk into a meeting and go, hey, we like Bad Boys for Life. Sorry about Batgirl. I mean, how can they walk into a meeting with anyone? I just feel bad for these guys.
But I mean, what I think a lot of average film fans, and you've spoken about this before, I think what a lot of average film fans don't think about, and even a lot of us who work more professionally in, is that, yeah, they had a film canceled, but there's not a filmmaker out there who's been in the business more than 2 or 3 years that hasn't had a project canceled.
That's true.
At different yeah, but I mean, parts of development.
This is so high profile.
It was so high profile.
You know, that's the thing. And I feel bad because, you know, they can't, this is a no-win situation for them. And they never even got to finish it. And so no one could see it and even judge for themselves.
Do you think it rubs even harder that Blue Beetle was made under the same circumstances, but they, instead of canceling it, they promoted it to theatrical?
Yeah.
That probably stings a bit.
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, not only did they work on Bad Boys for Life, which I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I did too.
They were,
I liked
now
it.
on television, it's more the showrunner, yes, but they did a very, very good job directing Ms. Marvel.
Right.
And even though, again, that is a TV show, that was really more responsible of the showrunner than but still, they did a good job there too.
And I'll tell you something. I think that that's a saving grace for them because Kevin Feige came out immediately in support of them.
Yes.
And I think that they have a future at Marvel. You know, I think Kevin Feige would stand behind those guys and at least let them direct more TV, which is great because then they're going to get more directing behind them.
Yeah, if they make a Ms. Marvel season 2, I guarantee you they'll be the directors.
And look, the Marvel shows are not like regular TV shows; they're much bigger budgeted shows, and so the fact that they're brought back, that's a big vote of confidence. So they're lucky. But man, I know what this must have done to the two of them, and it had to be devastating.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What did you think about the comments from Brendan Fraser saying, my lesson, work with trusted filmmakers like Darren? Was that him taking a shot at the Batgirl directors? Or was it just him trying to take an opportunity to heap some compliments on the director who has given his career resurgence? Maybe it was a little bit of both. I don't know. How do you guys see it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, we are now going to open up the super chats and we're going to spend the rest of our time here today taking your live comments and questions. Got a thought or opinion about any or all the topics we discussed here today? Maybe something else? Go ahead and start firing in those now. Be quick, though, because we do only leave the super chats open for a few minutes. Now, before we get into those live questions you guys are now sending in, we're going to take a second and thank one of our sponsors here on the John Campea Show, our friends and my cell phone provider, the good folks at Mint Mobile. Hey guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding, there isn't one. Seriously, Mint Mobile just has premium wireless service from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. I used to dread opening my phone bill every month because every time I was opening it, it was like playing roulette. I never knew what the actual price was going to be, and it always seemed to get higher. But not with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And if you're worried about the complication of switching things over, don't. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So guys, get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists at mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Seriously, you'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea.
And a special thanks to Mint Mobile for generously supporting this episode of the John Campea Show. Well, guess what? It's that time again. Our members, we hear from you before we start our super chats, and I'm going to send it right over to Ray Ora.
The Reading Rainbow with Ray Ora.
The Reading Rainbow. Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Yander Prid writes, 60s, 70s, found footage, body horror, MRVI's first dysfunctional family, take on Fantastic Four. If Krasinski stars and directs, or would you rather have something campy? I don't know. I think he was trying to describe his
dream project.
Yeah, of what do you think about that take about having Fantastic Four being like a horror about a dysfunctional family?
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. I prefer the more cosmic take on Fantastic Four, like John Byrne's take on it or Jonathan Hickman's take on Fantastic Four. I mean, I don't want it to be campy, but horror, there's always been sort of an element of horror. You had like the Mole Man, and there's always some kind of craziness going on with the Fantastic Four. But I want it to be more of a cosmic,
Got it.
Bend it that way.
All right, what's next?
All right. We have one from Jared W. He writes, Rob, did you see they are doing a Top Gun Maverick 4K Steelbook box set with a whole bunch of extras?
Dude.
Like dog tags, commentaries, behind the scenes, documentaries, etc.
Bro, I canceled my order for the Steelbook. I'm going for that. I saw that, as a matter of fact, last night, like at 2 a.m. I was going to bed and I was looking. I'm like, oh my God. Yes, I'm going to get that collector's box set.
And with 800 hours of footage shot, and literally with 800 hours of footage shot, you'd think they're going to have some behind the scenes stuff they can show.
I would literally just watch, if somebody would cut together 2 hours of just the flying footage, like just the flying footage with no context at all, I would watch it.
All right, what's next?
Okay, Mike's Movie Madness writes, hey, John and crew, loving being a member. Just curious if you plan on adding any more perks besides the town halls. Glad I could support the channel. You guys are my inspiration in film making.
We have 1 or 2 things coming, but also, I've asked our members before, if you guys have ideas for things we can add as perks, but that are practical, that we can actually do. Somebody wrote in, I think once a month you should fly in a fan to come in and sit in and be a guest on the show. It's like, we're not going to do that. But if you have some practical ideas, we're open. We are going to be adding, Ray's going to be adding some new badges into the live chat.
We don't need no stinking badges.
We also are going to be getting at some point, we're going to be adding a credits roll at the end of the show, listing our producer level members and stuff like that. So we're working on some things here. But again, we're also limited by what we can do a little bit, but we're always open to suggestions. Thank you for being a member, man. We appreciate it.
And Rob will read your scripts. You could just...
Rob will read your scripts.
Scripts.
Yeah. Okay. Joker writes, hey, John crew, are we in the golden age of television with all these amazing shows being accessible at all times with the ability to binge?
Been in it.
Yeah, I mean, it is an incredible time for TV writing, because also, if you go back to a previous era, like when I was growing up as a teenager, it was simple. If you wanted to watch Simpsons, you had to be home in front of your TV at the day and the hour that it came on. Now, of course, we had VHS and we could record it and all that kind of stuff. Sure, we could, but it was hard. Nowadays, it doesn't matter when a show comes out, unless you are frantic like some of us. Like the moment House of Dragons is out, I'm watching it at 6.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there at midnight refreshing my Disney Plus, waiting for the new show to come out. Like there's feel like it, but really, you can watch it any time now. It is a great time for being a TV viewer.
No, it absolutely is. And look at the Emmy Awards. That proves it. I mean, look at the lineup of just the best dramas and best comedies. That's at least, what is that, 12, more than that. Almost 20 shows.
Yeah.
I mean, excellent broadcast TV. And the limited series.
And more accessible than ever.
But and more, even reality shows now. Like I was telling you, Chef's Table Pizza, episode 2, I watched out on Netflix last night. It's one of the greatest hours of TV I've seen all year.
I'm a sucker for food and home renovation reality shows. I don't know why I am. I just totally am. All right. What's next?
That's it.
That's it. All right, then let's move on over to our super chats you guys have been firing in. So, Rob, what do we got?
Ulatan says, have you seen Richard Pryor's The Toy?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I loved it when I was a kid, but watching it as an adult, oh boy, it was definitely a product of its time. You know what?
It's funny. It's been many a year since I've seen The Toy. I watched a long time. I remember I really liked it. Have you watched it like in the last decade or so?
No. And I have to tell you, I think this is what I remember. 2 of the most disappointing movies that I've ever seen are The Toy and Rob Reiner's North.
Oh, I don't even think I watched that one.
Both of those movies, I'm like, what? Because I love Richard Pryor. And I was like, The Toy, what the hell is this? I think it was just a misfire, man. But like our viewer, I mean, I haven't seen that. When did that come out? Early 80s? Mid 80s?
Yeah, I was a kid. I mean, it's no Brewster's Millions.
No, it's...
Well, even that isn't Brewster's Millions.
Wow.
All right, what's next?
Wow. Dork of the Ninjas. There are no dorks of any ninjas. Just want you to know. If you're a ninja, you're a ninja. John, did you know that the Weird Al movie is based on an old Funny or Die skit? It was a fake movie trailer that starred Aaron Paul as Al. There is direct pulls from that skit, and there is in the new trailer.
I mean, I would have to hear Weird Al say, I actually based this on that. Like, so I need to know, are you interpreting that yourself, or did you actually hear like Weird Al say that? So, because, by the way, going to go see Weird Al tonight. I'm meeting Weird Al Yankovic tonight.
That's right.
This is a big day. I am very excited. But tonight I'm meeting Weird Al Yankovic, and I can't remember the last time I was this excited.
By the way, they just announced the films at Beyond Festival here in LA, and one of them is the Weird Al movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When is the schedule to come out? Taylor, if you want to look that up, when is that? It's supposed to come out on Roku.
Yeah.
Which is still weird to me, but I got to know when that's coming out.
Beyond Fest has a great lineup this year, and that's one of the movies.
All right, what's next?
Then South Texas Shark. Is Anne excited for Return to Monkey Island?
That's all she talks about. Oh. It's all she talks about. Yes. It's like that. I mean, when I showed her on my PS5 membership that you can get all these old games, she goes, "Is that Monkey Island?" I'm like, "Yeah." Give me the controller. And it was all Monkey Island all the time for a while. Like, yeah, she's drooling about this new game. Drooling about it.
The Weird Al movie is scheduled to come out on November 4th.
Oh, it is still a ways off.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Wayne Denny says, My Kingdom for a Harley Ivy action romance. A first for a comic movie directed by Gunn. Okay, that would be insane.
I mean, as long as it's still bonkers, because it's got to be bonkers, right?
But if anybody could pull that off.
Oh, James Gunn could pull it off. Listen, I as ridiculous as the show is, I still think the Harley Ivy romance is the best comic book thing romance I've ever seen. I think it's my favorite. All right, what's next?
Sub McShave, by the way, thank you for the 2 Wheel of Time books, Stubble. With shows like Rings of Power, The Boys, The Sandman, and others, it's no wonder there's a bottleneck for CGI. I'd say the shows use more CGI capacity than movies.
Listen, that is why now in another era, if somebody said, well, we had to push back this movie because we're backed up on CGI, I would go, yeah, why not just say you have scheduling conflicts? I don't buy that. Today, yeah, I do. Because not only is there so much CGI work that has to be done and such a finite, limited number of CGI houses to do them. On top of all that, you're still dealing with the glut as a result of the pandemic shutdown. So there's a ton of backed up work. There's a ton of new work. And it's still not a very friendly economical environment for post-production houses today. So you still have like effects houses closing down, whatever, because the economics don't work. I mean, it is absolutely a nutty time for them right now. It is absolutely a crazy time for them right now. All right, what's next?
Suthius says, sometimes when someone knows that their job, relationship, life is coming to an end, they tend to not have any motivation. It could be that Chapek knows his time is up and just had no motivation for D23.
I don't think so. I mean, look, I am not a fan of the way Bob Chapek has done his job so far, but you got to respect a man who can rock a beard.
Oh my God.
Again, hey, listen, I'm not kidding.
Change it all, huh?
I'm not kidding. Bob Chapek rocking that beard totally changes him. He doesn't look like a walking penis anymore. Like he looks like a man.
I mean,
now, it really works on him. I can't pull off the beard, so I really respect guys who can. And he is rocking that beard. It's working for him. Notice I'm kind of avoiding the question a bit, but it's true. I do like the beard.
Look at it from a different angle, John. There
So she
could
said-
still be some penis.
Still could be some walking penis. All right. What's next?
BD Energy. Elizabeth Gerardo says, this might be a reach, but what is the possibility that the Fantastic Four appear in Ant-Man 3? We are dealing with the quantum realm.
Zero chance. You know why? Because that movie's shot, and there's no way that the Hollywood Reporter wouldn't found out about it, that Variety, the Wrap, that movie's been shot ages ago. So it's zero chance, only because we absolutely would have known by now.
Unless there's a post-credit scene.
Maybe, but do you really want to introduce the Fantastic Four in a post-credit scene? Is that how you want to introduce the Fantastic Four?
No.
Mid-credit scene.
Mid-credit scene.
Or hinted
What do you
at.
want, John?
All right, what's next?
Andy says, when Zaslav shaves himself, does he use a razor or Manscaped like a normal human being, or does he use his mighty axe of Zaslav?
Ooh, the axe of Zaslav is meant for butchery.
Yeah, it is.
Complete butchery. Otherwise, you got to go with the. I would highly recommend the Manscaped lawnmower, followed with some ball toner.
Wait,
Get
stop
your-
saying
Get your day going right. All right, what's next?
You're ready for Weird Al.
Ready
well-
for Weird Al tonight.
Already.
Speaking of that, I look. Do we miss Andy? Is Andy scooched down?
We never miss Andy.
We never.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
we
got
did.
that one.
Yep.
I was just gonna say, because really, my 5 head, that's our new thing. My 5 head. What I love about Spielberg is that he never lets himself get comfortable.
Yeah.
Throughout his career, he's constantly pushed himself to try something new. It's absolutely correct.
Oh, it is. No, and not only the guy is the one, like you can pull together a name, like a 10 list of like the greats, right? The great filmmakers, right? Spielberg is the one guy on that list who has literally done every kind of movie. And won Academy Awards and been nominated for Best Picture for all these kinds of movies.
I have to tell you, after he did Temple of Doom, he jumped in and adapted Alice Walker's The Color Purple, which he caught a lot of flack for. Young Jewish director directing a black woman's story. And then he hired this incredible cast and Quincy Jones. I mean, that was a stretch for him. And that film, dude, that was the second time I ever cried in a movie.
It's one
watching
of
that
his
movie.
most underrated movies. Well, first of all, my favorite movie of his is truly his most underrated, which is Amistad. Amistad is my favorite Spielberg film.
Fantastic film.
But nobody ever talks about Catch Me If You Can.
It's a great.
That movie is fantastic.
No, it's a great-
and no
it's-
one ever talks about that.
It's a great movie. And that period after Color Purple, I mean, always might be a misstep, but I kind of liked it. He did Color Purple. He did Empire of the Sun right
I
after
think
that.
Empire was one of his least popular as far as box
one?
office.
Empire?
But I
It's-
loved that movie as a kid.
And that movie's aged really well. That's a
But
phenomenal
Munich,
film.
Ready Player One, Saving Private Ryan. I mean, you just go
Even-
every
even-
kind of movie he's done it, and he's killed all of it.
Minority Report.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean-
all of them.
except
John?
for maybe Terminal.
like,
Well, yeah,
all
throw
of
that
them,
out there.
but-
All right, what's next?
Jai CSC says, I know you don't care for X actor and X role questions, but what
But here
about
we go.
X actor and X men? Perfect fit, surely. I regret nothing. I should, but I don't.
X actor in X-Men. Yeah. Although, listen, I gotta say, as curious as I am about the Fantastic Four casting,
Right.
it's nothing compared to my curiosity about the X-Men casting. I mean, who is going to be Charles? Who's going to be Eric? Who's going to be Scott? Who's going to be Jean? Who's going to be Beast? Who's going to be Bobby? Who's going to be like I am actually way more wrapped up in that, but I know that one's a little bit further off. Who's going to be Logan?
Who's playing Pauly Shore?
You know what? I think Chris Evans is playing all of them.
Chris Evans is it. It's all of them.
It's a good question. I have no idea.
All right, what's next?
Trevor says, whoa, in Keanu Reeves' voice. Next year's going to be nuts. My 3 current favorite directors drop in movies: Damien Chazelle, Babylon; Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer; Denis Villeneuve, Dune Part 2.
By the way, Trevor sent in a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that support, Trevor. Appreciate that. Yeah. That's see, a lot of times people were looking at certain years and thinking, oh, certain franchises have movies coming out. 3 of the best directors working today all have films coming out next year.
And so does Scorsese.
And so does, because I don't think Fabelmans comes out till next year, right? It comes out in 2023.
No, I think it comes out this year.
Does it come out? Can you look that up? It does come out this year. It comes out in 2022? I thought they said it was coming out next. Maybe I'm thinking, you know what? I'm thinking of Babylon. Babylon said it was coming out next year. That's right. I was thinking the Fabelmans.
It has Oscar consideration, but it comes out in January.
Yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, it's fantastic, man. Absolutely fantastic. And thank you, Trevor, for sponsoring us on that level, man. We appreciate that.
November 23rd.
November 23rd.
Yeah,
okay,
so,
that's when it comes out. Thank you. I got that crossed up with the Babylon trailer. All right, what's next?
Richard Lyons says, Friday you guys discussed the best season of Game of Thrones. It has to be season 4. Purple Redding, Tyrion's Trial, Oberlin Exists, Mountain versus Viper, Battle at the Wall, Ygritte Death, Tywin Death, and much more. The Purple Wedding. It is a good season. I mean, it is a good season, but the best season? I don't know. Could be.
Season 7. Yeah, I mean,
it's only because it only has 6 episodes?
I know. Like, the one thing that really drives me crazy is the way, I mean, I like the ending of Game of Thrones, but that the way they turcated that the last couple seasons, it was inexcusable. Inexcusable and unnecessary.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
I agree. Richard Lyons says, Friday you go. That's down one more. Jay says, I recall movie posters being important as the trailers. They used to be. Seems like that's not the case anymore. Was there a movie you saw based just off the poster alone? Yes.
I bet you're going to say the same one I'm thinking of.
Nope.
Okay, go ahead.
Megaforce.
Oh, yeah, that's...
I had bought the Megaforce movie poster before I saw the movie. It had that goofy, it looks like a patch, and it says deeds, not words.
Deeds, not words.
Had it on the wall, and I'll tell you, boy, was I wrong.
That's a great movie.
Boy, was I wrong,
Megaforce is one of the great cinematic classics of all time. The hero's name is Ace.
Ace.
Come on.
Good guys win, even in the 80s.
Even in the 80s.
What movie poster were you going to say?
Life is like a wheel, Rob. It all comes around. Come on, Megaforce. No, I was going to say the word force is in it, and you might have to help me with the title of it. I believe it's Life Force. The one with the giant eyeball.
That's Life Force. That's right.
That poster, I had no idea what the F that was, but that poster just made me go, I have to see this. What is this? Just based on that giant freaking eyeball.
I worked on the Blu-ray special features.
Did you?
For Life Force. I interviewed Toby Hooper, who directed it, and then produced his audio commentary.
All right, what's next?
And the international version is way better than the American theatrical version. Let's see. Totodil Dundee. And by the way, thank you for that super chat. Hey, John and crew. I hope everyone is doing well today. My question is about Everything Everywhere All at Once. Is it just me, or does it have a kung fu hustle vibe to you? I love both films so much.
By the way, Totodil sending $20 super chat. Thank you for that, man. I wouldn't say it has a kung fu hustle vibe, but I do think there's some overtones. I think there's some, but not enough that I would call it a kung fu hustle vibe. It's far more philosophical and far more introspective than Kung Fu Hustle, which is just Stephen Chow being bonkers great.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that. By the way, I still stand by this 100%. All due respect for Shang-Chi that had the Kung Fu Hustle poster up in the background. Kung Fu Hustle is not Stephen Chow's best movie.
Shaolin Soccer.
Shaolin Soccer all day,
all day, man.
All day. I mean, I love Kung Fu Hustle, but Shaolin Soccer is a special freaking movie, man. That movie makes me laugh my ass off.
It's great.
And especially for its era, the visual effects for that time were really impressive. So
Nice pull there, John.
Oh,
It's a good
God.
pull.
If you
No,
guys
when
haven't seen Shaolin Soccer, man, you got to
Mad
watch Shaolin
respect.
Soccer.
When I went and saw Shaolin Soccer, I had no idea what I was getting into.
Me either.
I had no idea, and I was like, this is so different from what I expected. I love that movie.
It's so
good.
good. All right, what's next?
Orange Hand says, I'm hyped for Mando season 3, but I still find the way they set up the conflict between Din and Bo at the end of season 2 to be forced and clumsy.
I disagree. This is, you need a mechanic here that sets two characters that have absolute goodwill towards each other, but puts them in an impossible situation that cannot be avoided. She must have the throne of Mandalore, and she cannot legitimize it without the dark saber. But by Mandalore, just look, how is it any different than saying that the head of government in Wakanda is determined by ritual combat? Like some doofus who knows nothing about governance, but hey, they're really good at throwing a left hook, and therefore I'm king now. I mean, is it any more? I actually thought the way that was written and leveraging mythology of Mandalore with the darksaber and all that kind of stuff to set this up. I gotta say, man, I respect that you feel that way, but I myself have totally different feelings about it. I don't know. What about you?
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I didn't mind how it was set up. I didn't think it was clumsy. I thought it was in tune with the lore. I mean, that's how it had to be.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Ryder says, was rewatching Rogue One and was wondering, should they go back and update deepfakes CGI for Rogue One and Mando season 2 Luke? Would you be for that?
Honestly, I don't care. I mean, yeah, look, I went back and watched Rogue One a couple times when it was just out in IMAX. And yeah, with the Leia face when she turns around and says, hope, like you can totally tell. By the way, I still say Tarkin. A lot of people disagree. I still think Tarkin looked pretty damn good.
He does look pretty damn good.
But yeah, the Princess Leia one, yeah, that takes you out of it. And Luke, when he shows up, sure. But as a viewer, I know that it's a deepfake. I know it's not really Carrie Fisher, and it's fine. It doesn't really alter the story for me. It didn't change anything for me. Like, I'm sure they probably will at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't really think they need to. What do you think?
Well, I mean, how far back do you go?
Yeah.
Like, I think
All
we
the
should
way back.
replace
All
all of
the
Ray
way back.
Harryhausen's effects work. And what they really need to do is go replace young Jeff Bridges and Tron Legacy. That's what I would do. I'd go fix that.
Hey, but at the time,
Right.
that was as good as we had seen
It was, yes.
at the time. Right?
Absolutely.
Today, it looks a little rough.
Yes. It's a little rough. A
All
little
right,
sketchy.
What's next?
Joshua Gonzalez says, R.I.P. Jean-Luc Godard.
Yeah.
My favorite film of his was Masculine Feminine. That is a great film. Not my favorite, but I own it. I know, right? Sorry. I think you know what? I really like Pierre LeFou. If you guys haven't seen that, it's really interesting. And Contempt.
All right, what's next?
MC Mac says, hey, John and crew, A24 must have had a lot of faith in Ty West and Mia Goth to not only make, but release an X trilogy of X, Pearl, and now the recently announced Maxine in over 1 year.
First of all, I was shocked to hear about Pearl. I was shocked to hear that they were doing that. I have not even heard of Max. I didn't know they were doing that.
So they released the Pearl premiered at TIFF,
Right.
And like in the end credits, they have a teaser for Maxine, and it starts out. It comes over the Hollywood Hills, and it starts out like a VHS videotape, like little tracking control problem, and the Hollywood sign, instead of saying Hollywood, it says Maxine, and it's actually a pretty great effect shot. So I guess the legacy of Pearl continues.
I mean, they're putting a lot of money into their marketing. All I see is Pearl ads everywhere, TV, the web, everywhere.
Yeah, because I know that X is your favorite movie.
Like everyone, look, we all have these. All of us, you have them, I have them. All of us have these movies that everybody seems to love that just didn't work for you. And X was one of those movies for me. I actually walked out of it. Now, Grant, I didn't walk out of it because of other films I watched. It was like, I just totally hate this so much. It was literally, I was like, I'm not really enjoying this, and there's something on TV that I really want to watch, so I'm just going to go. And which is weird because with all the filthy in it, it's my kind of movie. Like that looks like a movie that is designed for me to like. And it just didn't work for me. And I ended up leaving. But, you know, a lot of people really enjoyed it and loved it. And I'm glad they're having their success. All right, what's next?
Suthius says, one interesting detail is that one of the necklaces that Donnie Blaze wears is a skull of Khonshu.
Yeah, I did. I noticed that as well.
Yep.
Or at least it looks like a skull of
Yeah.
Khonshu. It's not exact, but it does look. By the way, in case you didn't know, the actor who played Donnie Blaze is actually the director of that episode's husband. So look at it. I actually thought he played the character, but all I could see, Ray, you didn't even see that episode, did you? You didn't watch She-Hulk, do you?
He did.
Did you? Did you see that episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saw it.
All I could think about when they were in court and he's got his lawyer, tell me that lawyer was not trying to be Paul Heyman. All I could see was Paul Heyman. Even when especially when he's pulling out all I saw was Paul Heyman. Only wrestling fans will understand what I'm talking about, but that's all I could see was Paul Heyman. All right, what's next?
Matt Sanders says, we all have one hot cousin, RMB. Thank you for that great after show.
Oh, what was that on?
I said that yesterday on the Game
On
of
that
Thrones. I
House
said,
of
hey,
Dragon
we've all
show?
got one hot cousin.
All right,
That's
what's
just a
next?
truism of life. Don Williams says, one of two. I love House of the Dragon so much. This is how you do a fantasy show whose source material is written as a history book that spans multiple years with lots of blank spaces in between and very little dialogue.
There
There it was.
There it is.
While pleasing the protective diehard book readers, the casual fan base inherited from previous on-screen projects, and newcomers alike. I think that's a really good point. I would agree with that because the House of the Dragon book is not like your traditional novel. It's more it's more like the Silmarillion, so it gives you time to fill in all of this stuff, which I think is great. And he's right. I mean, I find this show strangely, it's not a copy of Game of Thrones. It's different. It's a thing. I mean,
These are different characters.
yeah, it's unto itself. But dude, that show, I love it, man. I love House of the Dragon. I'm surprised at how much I love it.
I've been watching now because I have not read the source material. I haven't read the books, right? So I don't really care. But I've been watching a certain online guys who do breakdowns of House of the Dragon and who are very knowledgeable of the books. And they're always talking about the differences,
Right.
how they've taken liberties. And it is funny to me, though, that you don't hear the cry squawking out of the Game of Thrones people about them making all these changes than what is in the books, as you do from people harping on, say, Rings of Power for making changes. It's weird. Now that said, winning cures everything. House of the Dragon is just a better made show right now. The Rings of Power I'm enjoying, and I think by the end of episode 3, I'm really actually starting to get on board with it a lot, but it has had major pacing issues to me.
Yeah.
And to me, nothing can drag the life out of a show faster than pacing issues. Whereas House of the Dragon, right from scene 1, episode 1, its pacing has been like immaculate. Like it's just been perfectly paced. And I just feel like we've gotten through a lot more of the story in 4 episodes than we have in, the first couple of episodes of Rings of Power. Now, again, in Rings of Power, I feel like that pacing is picking up. And I hope they just want to use the first 2 episodes to really world build. And I think you can world build while having good pace, guys. But let's see how that all turns out. Right now, House of the Dragon is the better show right now.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Jacob Hirsch says, I want Werewolf by Night to exist as a classic horror film from the MCU's 1930s based on real events. Then it's revealed that Jack Russell is in hiding, watching this old film about himself at the end. Jacob, I love that idea. I don't think that's what they're going to do.
No, I don't think so.
But I love that idea that somebody's made some goofy movie about some goofy thing that may or may not have really happened. And then our real character, the real Werewolf by Night's watching it at the end. I like that.
I got to admit, Werewolf by Night is one of those, that and the Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special. I'm not really interested in either of them. I got to admit, I don't feel any excitement for you. I'm super excited for Guardians 3, but I'm not really excited for this holiday thing.
It depends on the execution.
Yep.
If it comes along and they're great, I'll be like, great, that was awesome.
Yeah. I'll watch them and judge them on their own merits. I'm just admitting going into them, I don't feel a lot of excitement for them right now.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see this just because it's kind of a goof. Like, what is it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just so different.
And I'm very curious about the Michael Giacchino thing.
Me too.
Like, this is really interesting to me. So we'll see how that works. All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, Campea, who wants to see more of the Batman Beyond crew and a Batman Beyond movie? Rob, Chris, Ray, fan base. F y'all.
No.
No.
Just no. Nobody wants to see a Batman Beyond.
One day it's going to come true and we can gloat.
One day it will. One day it will. I'm telling you what. I've said this for a couple of years now. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think, made a potential animated Batman Beyond movie a much bigger possibility than before Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I stand by that. Listen, I've been saying for many, 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 many years now, as fans would be saying to me, John, they're going to make it. They're going to make a Batman Beyond movie in a day now. I'm saying, no, they're not. No, they're not. And here we are 7 years later. They still haven't done it. But I'm telling you what, if you are a Batman Beyond person that you're hoping they make an animated movie, I think there's a lot more reason today to be hopeful because of that Spider-Man Into the Spider. Because not only was it an animated movie that did well and all that kind of stuff, it was very much like this. You had a person calling themselves by the name of the popular comic book hero, but they're not really that person. They're somebody else. Like Miles Morales is not Peter Parker, but he is a great character in and of himself. They were able to make that and made one of the greatest comic book movie of that year. Yes, I do put Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse over Black Panther, and I put it over Avengers Infinity War. I think it's that good. And now you've got like a Batman Beyond where it's kind of a similar thing. It's an iconic name, but it's not really that character. It's somebody else. But it worked for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I think if you are somebody who's looking forward to that has made it possible. So I think it'll happen eventually. I just don't know when. All right, what's next?
All right. Quality not included. Says, hasn't Kevin Feige been on the record saying we haven't met all the Thunderbolts yet? Maybe an unfinished lineup? Zemo.
I don't know that he's been on record to say that.
I don't know either.
But again, with the Zemo thing, I think you can take it to the bank that Zemo's going to be in. I talked about this yesterday on the show, and a bunch of outlets ran with it that we talked about this. But when you go to the official Marvel webpage that talks about the Thunderbolts presentation at D23, Zemo's name is literally in the URL. It's literally there. So I don't think there's much doubt that we're going to meet.
If he is in Thunderbolts, will he dance?
Better.
By the way, can I just say another thing is like the backlash, the idiotic backlash that She-Hulk twerk scene got. Oh, but people were like, oh, but Zemo doing, oh, that was great. That's fantastic. But She-Hulk with Megan Thee Stallion dancing in her office was not. Get out of here.
Unacceptable.
Get out of here with that weak sauce. Get out of here. And I love the Zemo dance scene, by the way. I do. I think it's great.
I mean, if Megan Thee Stallion is in your office, why wouldn't you twerk with her?
Right. Damn right. All right. What's next?
What's next?
I met Zemo right after Inglourious Bastards. I met him in a little martini bar, an old martini bar in Barcelona.
Daniel
Bruhl.
Yep.
He was
just
so
at the bar.
good in Inglourious Bastards.
My friend and I randomly walked in there, and he was at the bar there, and talked to him for a bit.
By the way, another thing he's absolutely fantastic in, Ron Howard's movie that he did with Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, the car racing one. What was it?
Rush.
Rush. Thank you. He was in Rush. I think Daniel Bruhl got a couple of nominations that year.
Yeah.
I don't know if he got the Oscar nomination. He might have. But anyway, he was great in that.
He was great.
All right, what's next?
JT Hiskey says, D23 was huge. They announced High School Musical 4.
Pardon me, High School Musical, the musical.
Right.
Season 4.
Season 4.
Thank you very much.
Pardon me.
By the way, like there were a number of things that I think were highlights. Their animated live action stuff,
Yeah.
Disenchanted, Little Mermaid, and even on the thing like the trailer. I mean, you can drop trailers anytime. You didn't need 23, but still, the trailer for Secret Invasion I thought was very good. The trailer for Mandalorian season 3 was fantastic. I think there were a number of good things that came out of it. It's just that I just really felt that Lucasfilm Marvel presentation was an absolute fart in the wind. It was an absolute dud. But there were truly good things that did come out of D23. All right, what's next?
Navander Taylor sends in a super chat.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Navander.
supporting the channel. Appreciate that. Joshua Cohen says, "Hope you guys are having a great day so far."
We
so,
are
so
having a
good.
really good day today. Thanks.
It's a fun
so
show.
much.
I feel my energy levels up. It's good.
All right, what's next?
Tumbling Turdnado. Ooh, ouch. Funny thing at D23, one attendee offered me her wristband for $100 to get into the Marvel panel. Glad I refused because there was no splooshing that day.
Again, listen. Disney set the precedent. Disney makes D23 out to be the be-all and end-all, the showstopper, the main event, the World Series, everything rolled in. This is it. This is it. This is it. And coming off of a D23 where they announced like 6, 7 brand new things, brand new project, they literally announced nothing new. And it didn't have to be Fantastic Four. It didn't have to be Deadpool. It didn't have to be Doctor Doom. It didn't have to be Galactus. It didn't have to be anything specific. Just something. And they, one after the other, we just kept looking at our watches and going like, when are they actually going to announce something?
I felt that way because you and I were kind of watching it. We were watching different feeds.
We were following
it
the news
Twitter
going
and
on,
stuff. And I'm like, I was like, when are they going to announce something new?
I remember I actually got a call. It was about 10 minutes before the end of the panel, and I got a call from Harloff, who was inside.
Oh, he was?
At the thing. Yeah, Harloff got in, and he was inside, and he says, what a fucking nothing burger this is. I'm like, I know, right? It's just, what's going on? And I was still convinced. 10 minutes before the end of the panel, I was telling some people online, because I was in an online chat with some people, and I was telling people online, I am telling you, right when it looks like this presentation's over, Kevin Feige's going to pull a Steve Jobs. He's going to come out on stage. He goes, oh, wait, there's, in classic Steve Jobs, one more thing. I was telling people, I say, you watch, Feige's about to come out and save this thing. By now, telling these guys online, you wait, you watch. There's going to be a one more thing. And Kevin Feige's going to come out here, blow the doors off, and like end this whole thing on a high note.
The house lights came on, and
The house lights came on, and I'm
stuff.
still, nope. People started walking out of the auditorium. Nope, you wait. He's going to come back out and announce something. And yeah, nope, I was wrong. He didn't do that. All right, what's next?
Alan Ling says, hey, John and Rob. Getting home from D23, I had a really great time despite underwhelming Marvel announcements. Couldn't get into that panel. Got into the Disney one. I really like that panel.
Listen, again, D23 as an event, what they officially call the D23 Expo, as an overall event, apparently was quite a success. I mean, I saw a lot of very happy people, have good times, all that kind of stuff.
Dude, those crazy Disney parks people, they were eating that stuff up, man.
Well, listen, everywhere I looked, people were cosplaying and walking around with massive bags of product they had bought.
Yeah, like all the people that bought the Spider-Man hot toy to sell on the secondary market for $1,000.
Yep, they bought them all up and then sold them right away, made big profit.
Big money, man.
But when I'm referring to D23, I really should be specific. I hope my audience knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm specifically referring the Saturday 10 a.m. presentation of Lucasfilm and Marvel. So when I say D23 is a dud, what I'm really talking about is just that one finite thing. But as a celebration of all things Disney and the overall Disney experience, it was a positive thing for a lot of people who went and had a really good time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. All right, what's next?
Tim Platt says, I missed the Emmys because I was too busy watching the worst end of game use of Russell Wilson since throwing the ball on the goal line. Tim, God bless you, sir, but you know what? Not our problem anymore. You're not wrong.
Problem. And you know what? Russell Wilson and the Broncos will be fine. They will be fine. Give them a few weeks. They'll be good. But I was really, hey, man, I called yesterday Broncos were going to win that game. And I was cheering for the Seahawks too, watching that game. I was like, oh my God, watching that field goal go up. I'm like, good times. All right,
it's the only
what's
game
next?
that matters as far as I'm concerned. Seattle won it. Hardick Dave said, so Disney's answer to Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragon is going to be our India epic story. Yeah. Mahabharat. They announced it at D23 that day with a whopping scale and budget.
I'm not familiar with it.
I'm not either. It's an Indian, I guess, because they released Brahmastra Shiva.
Yep.
Brahmastra Part 1
Yep.
Shiva. And that was the second highest grossing movie of the weekend. So Disney is getting into the Indian film business and releasing them here domestically.
I'll tell you what, back in the day when I was still at AMC, we were building and developing a, for lack of a better term, which our internal thing was that we were going to be making a movie talk Bollywood. We were actually well into the process. We've been working for months at trying to put together a dedicated Bollywood show that was going to focus on the filmmakers coming out of India and that area, right? And we got to the points we had our budgeting set aside, we had money set aside. I was starting the process of starting to find, because I was clearly not going to host it, but I started the process of trying to hire hosts for it and all that kind of stuff. And then there was a change in direction and we lost the funding for it. We didn't end up doing it. But I'll tell you what, I did not enjoy RRR. It just wasn't for me. So that's fine. Nothing wrong, but it just wasn't for me. That's okay. That's cool. But RRR has become, in my memory, that first film of that genre is not the right word, but for lack of a better term right now,
Style.
is the first film coming out of there that has really captured the globe's attention. And I think they are going to parlay that. And when I say they, I also mean Disney and other are going to take advantage of that. I think Netflix is going to take advantage of that. I think you're going to see a lot of content getting bigger platforms here in the North American market and the Western market. And it's going to get a lot more attention now because of that film. And I think that's very interesting.
I agree, dude, because like when I was really into like the Hong Kong cinema, the late 80s, early 90s, like John Woo's A Better Tomorrow or The Killer and Hard Boiled and Bull in the Head. And then it seeped over into America, but they weren't for everybody.
Right.
And then like in the early, I love J-horror, and in the early aughts, like Roy Lee was buying up all the rights to both some Korean and some Japanese movies, bringing them to America and remaking them. People got more aware of those. Now these Bollywood movies, it's the same kind of thing. Korean cinema right now is incredible. We've got Squid Game. There's so many great action thrillers and cop thrillers and horror films coming from out of Korea. And now the India, we really don't have much at all knowledge of Indian films. And they're doing, I mean, it's an acquired taste, but they're doing these epic fantasies. And, you know, this, I haven't seen Brahmastra, Part 1 Shiva, but I saw the trailer for it. And I'm like, I'll watch this. I don't know what's going on, but I'll watch it. It looks good.
All right. What's next?
Dwan Williams says, Crispin is in so much trouble. Kingsguards swear an oath of celibacy, and the punishment for oath breaking is castration. It's also treason to sleep with the princess out of wedlock. At least she's hot.
Well, see, here's the thing.
I'm glad I didn't say it.
Boy.
Has this show specified that Kingsmen have to be celibate?
I don't believe
the show has.
Maybe
they might be in the books, but I don't believe the show has.
And remember, I mean,
but yeah, sleeping with the princess is gonna get your dick cut off.
It's gonna. But the thing is, I mean, he didn't have a choice. I mean, in a way, it's kind of the reverse. He was pressured into it. He got Harvey Weinstein by the princess.
Yeah, I mean, when the princess tells you to do something, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, and he protested.
I mean, who hasn't had a girl throw themselves at you after being turned on by their uncle? Right?
There's
I mean,
been
if we all had a
protests
nickel.
too much.
If we all had a nickel. All right, what's next?
Nikita Monahan says, Martin McDonagh won Best Screenplay at some recent film festival for his new film, which is getting great reviews and awards buzz. Thoughts on his movie? That is the Something of Ishernin. That's the one that's the one with Brendan Gleeson and
and Colin Farrell.
Yeah,
that's getting a lot. Like, didn't he? Like, is this his first film since 3 Billboards?
I believe it is.
Which, by the way, to this day, I do not understand how he does not win Best Director. How the number one job of a director is to bring the optimal performance out of their actors. They had 3 actors nominated, 2 of them won, and I don't even believe he got nominated for Best Director.
Well, no, it's crazy how
that is one of the that and Ben Affleck not getting nominated for Best Director for Argo. Those are 2 ones that completely confound me. But yeah, everything I'm hearing about this is a follow up to In Bruges.
I mean, what is it called? This movie with Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. It's got something of Isher. I don't even know what the name is, but it looks great. I mean, the plot is Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell were friends, and one day Brendan Gleeson just decides, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I just don't like you.
I just love these two together.
I
ever since
can't
In
wait. I
Bruges.
cannot wait.
But again, the fact that dude directed Best Picture and 3 of his actors to nominations, 2 of them to Oscar wins, and he didn't get nominated. That's the job of a director. That's the primary job of the director. Make the best movie, get the best performances of your actors, and that guy didn't get nominated? I'll never get that.
By the way, on this week's Designing Hollywood podcast, Jenny talks about she did the costumes for In Bruges. And I'm like, really? Like, you went back after doing these big movies? And she's like, yes, they did not know I could do a small film, and I wanted to do an arts film, and it's great. I was like, good
I
for
just
you.
love the
That
way she
movie's-
talks. All right, what's next?
Great. Ryan Gerger says, hi, John. Why should I watch the greatest beer run ever on September 30th? Because it looks like the greatest movie ever made. How about that?
This is the one with Zac Efron, right?
No.
It's not?
I don't know if he's in it. This
Can
is
you look that up, Taylor?
This is the Vietnam movie where the guy goes to a small town.
Yeah, and I think Zac.
It looks like Zac Efron's
Yeah,
in
it's
this
Zac
one.
Efron's the
Is
main
he
guy.
the star of it?
Yeah, and Russell Crowe.
And
Oh,
here's
wow.
the thing: Aaron was one of the our own Aaron Cummings was one of the finalists for a role in that film, but she's kind of glad she didn't get it because the role was, I believe, for Zac Efron's mom. So she's like, maybe I should be okay that I didn't.
I
get
didn't realize that
role.
was Zac Efron in the trailer.
Well,
Yeah.
what's on his face?
Well, we're not looking at what you're looking at,
His
Taylor. So-
mustache. He looks like Wooly Willy.
Yeah, I didn't. By the way, that movie looks great.
Well, the story it's based off is incredible.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't tell you why you need to see
Zac
it.
Efron, she's no.
All right, what's next?
Matt Sanders says, R.I.P. to French director Jean-Luc Godard. I said, oh,
Jean-Luc. I knew somebody was going to say it.
Jean-Luc Godard. I wondered if Rob ever saw Weekend from '67. It's one of the most out there insane films I've ever seen.
Let me guess.
Bro,
The next words coming out of your mouth are: would you believe that I own the physical media
the
copy?
Criterion
Of course
Blu-ray.
you do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do, and it is one of the most insane films ever made. Yep. It's a very odd movie, but it's a great movie.
All right.
He. I mean, look, he was a master.
All right, what's next?
Antonioni and Godard, man. James Wheeler says, hello, everyone.
By the way, James sends in like a $20 super
$20
chat.
super
Thank
chat.
you, James.
Have you seen the trailer? I just watched this. Have you seen the trailer for the new All Quiet on the Western Front? It looks so good.
I didn't even know that trailer came out. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's they've remade it how many times? But it looks great. Brutal World War I movie.
When
but
did
it
the
looks
trailer
great.
to that drop?
Like last week, but I didn't watch it right away because I thought it was an old.
I
thought it
didn't
was
even
old-
know it came out last week. I didn't even know the trailer dropped.
Yeah, it dropped, and it was funny because I thought it was like you know how you look on YouTube and things pop up.
Yeah.
It popped up, and I'm like, what? And then it said like posted yesterday, and I didn't know they were making a new All Quiet on the Western Front. So I'm like, it looks really
So
good.
what stood out to you about it?
Well, it's deals with World War I. It's brutal, and it looks like it was really expensive. Trench warfare, and I'm like, it didn't look like Roger Deakins in 1917.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're describing kind of 1917.
It has more of a I don't know, more of a CG look to it. But I wanted to find out who made it. I didn't know anything about it. I just watched the trailer, and I was like, that's interesting because I didn't even know it was coming out. I didn't know anyone was doing it.
All right. Well, thanks you, man, for writing that in. Thank you for supporting us on that level and putting this on my radar because I
Yeah.
didn't even know the trailer dropped.
Yeah, it
All right.
dropped.
What's next?
Suthius says Tony Leung is a very small-framed man, but he has got to be one of the most intimidating antagonists of the MCU. First of all, I don't care what small frame he has, John. He's one of the coolest MFers in the world.
That dude looks at you with the right look and you'll crumble.
You wear a linen suit, talk about a movie, watch him and John Woo's Hard Boiled. Oh my God. Or Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love. That guy can do anything.
Look, characters die, villains die in hero movies. And I'm not just talking superhero movies. I mean, hero movies, villains die. It is what it is. But I am often very critical of Marvel for being the Marvel fake death universe. But if you're going to do a fake death, bring him back.
I know.
I mean, I know I give you shit all the time for just fake deaths. But I mean, one time that I would buy it, make it for him.
I mean, and look, if you like Tony Leung, go look into his Chinese filmography because he's got like 35 years of movies.
Well,
to
he's
watch.
got some filthy in there too.
Oh,
he's got some filthy in there.
Yes, he does.
All right, what's next?
Quentin Stewart Racing says, "What do you think of the future of Boba Fett is?"
They are not done with them. They'll take another swing at the bat. I think they've got to know they underperformed on that one, and I hope they can do better. All right, what's next?
Hang on. Here we go.
Atomic says, would you ever collab with geeks and gamers?
Let's just move on past that. That's an idiot question.
Al Renshaw says, repaint Boba Fett hot toys scheduled to ride this evening. Great looking figure. Have been looking at Ahsoka premium format toy as well. God help my wallet. First of all, don't just look. The answer is always yes. Just saying.
All right,
Don't
what's
look.
next?
Just yes. Andy says, I simply call Matt Damon Smith now.
I mean, it does make sense. It totally makes sense now. I mean, listen, this guy, I mean, a lot of people think of him just as a Doctor Who. And I don't watch Doctor Who, so I've never had that thing. But man, when you watch The Crown and you see him play Philip in The Crown, and now you watch what he's doing as Damon in this, this dude is an incredible powerhouse actor, and I cannot wait to see what he does next.
Oh, I can't wait to see what he does in the show
Just
next
in the
week
show for this
on Sunday. What's
one of the most
happen?
interesting characters they've got in the show right now for sure. All right, what's next?
JT Hiskey says, Ray, how do you feel about the D23 game announcements?
The mobile ones? Well, mostly mobile ones. I know they have Marvel Knights coming out. It looks cool. It's not my type of game, but all the ones that I saw were all mobile games. I don't know. Maybe I wish you clarified like what games that.
Ray, what did you think about the 4-player Minnie and Mickey one for the Switch?
Oh, that one actually looked cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that
get
one
that one.
actually looked cool. Like the old school, it looked like Cuphead.
Yeah, it looked really
Yeah, that one's interesting because it seems like you could like get into it with like 3 other players and like you're going around. If that's like an adventure game, I'm all in. If it's like a Smash Brothers game, there's too many of those.
Yeah, it looked more like a side scroller.
Right. I'm down.
All right, what's next?
Harv's Case says, Godard's French New Wave films such as Breathless, Contempt, A Band of Outsiders, and Masculine and Feminine really opened up cinema for me and its possibilities beyond just conventional storytelling. Rest in peace. No, he was he also improvised a lot of his movies. But you're absolutely right. The man did change cinema. He was a giant of French cinema.
All right, what's
doubt.
next?
He made a 3D movie recently, too. James Argenta says, get ready to meet a new Joffrey on Hot D.
Is that going to be Aegon?
I think, is Aegon Hot D? Yeah, probably. I would imagine. The new Joffrey.
All right, what's next?
King Tannic says, started Game of Thrones and Daenerys is totally unhinged and going to turn bad. I see it already, just 6 episodes in. John is totally right.
Listen,
But
I remember.
you've been given warning too.
Yeah,
to see it.
I just remember like when Game of Thrones was on, we were in the mid seasons and stuff like that. And Ann and I were doing a Game of Thrones after show. And we were telling people for years, some people for years, like as early season 3, season 4, we were saying on our show, Dany is Breaking Bad. She is an asshole. Dany is a jerk. All you had to do is watch the little subtle things they were doing with her character. And I'm telling people, and everybody's saying, you don't know what you're talking. And I'd never read the books or anything like that. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm just telling you, everything they're showing us is somebody who is so self-important and so about themselves. Everything they're showing us is that. Yeah, she would do some good things, but all the good things she was doing was all self-serving. Every good thing she did in the show ultimately served her own goals. And I said on and on and on, especially more and more as we got to the end of the show, she's Breaking Bad. They're making it clear she's going bad. And everybody said, you're crazy. And then when she did break bad, everybody was like, well, that came out of nowhere. I'm like, dude, I've been telling you for 5 years this was coming. And nobody believed me. And there we were.
I don't think it came out of nowhere. I expected Snow to balance her.
Maybe, well,
but that just didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping
Sorry
for
for
that.
whoever's whatever.
Tell you what, one of the shots, I think even if you are a real hater of the last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones, you got to admit in that final season, there's this shot where she's now conquered King's Landing, right? And she's come walking down some stairs, and way in the back is one of her dragons, way, way in the back. But as she's walking down the stairs, the camera has her centered in frame. So her body is shielding view of the dragon that's way behind her. And she's wearing her all black Targaryen outfit, right? And the dragon in the background decides to spread its wings. And it gives a very maleficent kind
it
of
looks like she's the dragon.
Gorgeous shot.
Yeah.
Like cinematography wise, that shot was gorgeous. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Talking entertainment with Josie says, before graduation, I had to come to the realization that maybe sometimes I won't always have my friends around and I might have to see them go. I wish I had Clerks 2 in my life.
I'm telling you, that is one of the reasons why that movie, like people are often, when I list off my top 20 movies, most of them people look at and go, yeah, that's a great one, even if it's not in their top 20. One of the ones that catches a lot of people, I mean, The Highlander is definitely the one that catches people the most, but one of the other ones that catches people very by surprise is when I say Clerks 2. But movies are experiential events and they hit us at certain times in our lives. And I just happened to see Clerks 2 at an exact moment just like that, where that movie really spoke to my soul. Because I was facing a hard decision about, what do we give priority in our lives? Like our advancements and our careers and our jobs, or just the people in our lives, and do we give priority to that? And it's a movie that really, in a hilarious way, deals with those really big issues. And it was very special to me because of that. All right.
good.
What's next?
That was it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Then that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because it gives great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Once again, don't forget, head on down to the playlist that we have set up for Designing Hollywood. If you like the behind the scenes, understanding how the looks and the images that we see on screen get made, you're going to want to go and check those out. Again, the most recent one we have up there with the designer of House of the Dragon, Harry Potter, James Bond, obviously In Bruges, apparently. Go and check that out there. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave comments down below, and make sure you come on back and join us for the John Campea Show again tomorrow. Also, to let you know, a little bit later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Rob and I have an episode of Open Mic that we're going to be doing. Once again, that's at 3 p.m., and we hope to see you guys there. All right, guys, so for everybody in the room, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, Ray Ora, producer Jonathan Voico, and myself, John Campea, thanks a lot for being here, guys. My name's John, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.